Lâu cả quá mate. Powerful. Look like Liam Smith. Lâu cả quá mate. Powerful. Look like Liam Smith. Lâu cả quá mate. Lâu cả quá mate. Look like Liam Smith. Powerful. Look like Liam Smith. Lâu cả quá mate. Lâu cả powerful.
Hi guys, and welcome. At last, we're back. How you doing, Max?
Yeah, all good.
Oh, I tell you, it's been an absolute nightmare to do. So, guys, if you bear with us, we are streaming live, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, 2 channels on YouTube. Everything's going off. I'm trying to get it all set up. So this is last time it was an absolute disaster, but alas, we seem to be there. We seem to be there. And it looks good. I can see us all except on Twitter because it's all squished down. So you'll have to put up with Max's left ear and my right ear. Sorry about that, guys, if I move this way. There we go. Anyway, right. Anyway, guys, it's been a long time and we're back in. Both of us have had COVID, which wasn't very pleasant. Then I got an ear infection and Max had a tooth out. So it's been just an absolute disaster of a month, hasn't it, pal? Well, I'll tell you, and it couldn't have happened at a worse time because, you know, it's the biggest fight of the century. Probably the biggest fight ever coming up December 23rd.
Well, according to Eddie Earn, it won't be, because he's got some big plans for 2024.
Well,
He's going to rival this month.
I'll tell you what, I mean, I don't know what you... Guys, hit us up in the comments. You're live on all over the world, so hit us up. Tell us what you think. How can it possibly be bigger than December 23rd? I mean, you would only need to add just a few more superstars, and you couldn't get any bigger. You know, drop Canelo in, and it's over, isn't it?
That's it. Just drop Canelo in there. It's up there.
I mean, you're not gonna do much. Anyway, talking about December 23rd, guys, we're really looking forward to it. It's in a couple of weeks' time. Sadly, we're not able to go because you know, Max has got some family things. Or we started this venture together, we finish it together, and yeah, we've already been robbed of one flight, so we're not gonna chance it again. But family comes first in Fighters Talk TV.
Yeah, definitely, 100%, and that goes both ways, doesn't it?
Yes, mate. Yes, mate. I mean, we went to the first time we went to see Alexander Usyk versus Daniel Dubois live in Poland. I flew home to go to a wedding, leaving Max out there, who was sending me videos going, "You're missing out." So much for Frank Warren being a small hall promoter. Have a look at this. And then we were just like,
Mate, that stadium was huge and it was filled. Trust me.
oh, mate, it was great. So, guys, if you do see me looking to the left, I'm going to give you a little bit of a brief overview as to what we actually see, here in the studio, or in my studio. Max is in a different location. So there you all are up on the screens. You've got the 2 YouTubes and of course Twitter there, and down here you've got Instagram. You got Max and me ourselves, and over this side you got Facebook. So yeah, now you've had a good look round my studio and my office in here. We are going to close. Just to give a bit of thank you, first of all, Cornbread. Want to thank them very much for sponsoring us. Without them, not a lot would be possible. And it's our first sponsor, and I hope they're really proud of what we've done. We certainly put them on the map. Let's put them that way. Yeah. Yeah, Max is at the lot, guys, right, at the lot. And if you are about, do drop us a message, say hi. I'm more than happy to answer any of your questions. And have your say, guys, have your say. Tell me what you think. Anyway, so let's talk about the first subject of the day. It's got to be last night. Devin Haney, Richard Prograis, what happened?
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what, I honestly thought Prograis was going to come out and give Devin Haney his first real fight, basically. But it didn't work out that way. Devin Haney, he is a warrior. You know what I mean? He's got it all. You know what I mean? And what can I say? He's just like a masterclass. You know what I mean? He just outboxed him, outmoved him, more skillful, bigger, more powerful. So let's hope that his next fight, which probably might be against Ryan Garcia, might be.
You don't fancy him against Tank?
Well, I do fancy him against Tank. But who's the bigger fight for him, Garcia or Tank Davis?
No, well, I tell you something. I mean, he showed some utter class last night, didn't he? He did a proper demolition job, didn't it, on Prograis? I mean, Eddie Hearn's been shouting about he's the real deal, and of course, and I think he is. Yeah. I mean, he's top. He is top draw. He's 25-year-old young man, gonna do really, really well in the sport.
Listen, he's got a good team. He's got a good team behind him, and his dad backs him up all the way. And I think that's the way forward. If you've got a good team, good support, I think you're going places. And he doesn't swap and change trainers, coaches, and all that.
Well, do you know what? That's one of the things that they're talking about with the AJ thing, isn't it? If you keep changing trainers, what's going to get? What's going to happen in all of this? And that's the truth of the matter. You've got to have some sort of stability here if you ever want to get anywhere.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. And it's proven with AJ, changing the trainer, coaches, 3 or 4 times, it's not working.
Well, I mean, we've got to be honest with him.
When he first come around, he had one trainer, all them fights, done superb, done excellent for the boxing world, and then all of a sudden started chopping and changing, and it didn't work out for him. Losses, draws, struggling at the fight, it ain't in the game.
Well, do you know what? I mean,
am I seeing it right or am I not?
I don't know whether it's changing trainers or, it's like I always said, and I think Dana White just said it recently about Conor McGregor. When you've got 80 million quid in the bank, it's really hard to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go running. It really is. I mean, your whole life's been changed. And that could never have been more apparent in the latest fight with Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou. I think he took Francis Ngannou too lightly, despite what he says. I think he took him too lightly. I don't think he dealt with him. I think he got the prediction totally wrong. But I will say this in Tyson's defence. Nobody ever fought this man in the ring. So he didn't know what he was preparing for. He was expecting him to come out sort of charging like a bull. But at the same...
I did say to you, didn't I? I went, can't write Ngannou off. He might not have been in the boxing ring, but he is a fighter. And he's got some sort of... Yeah,
but so have all these other MMA stars that keep getting ironed out by YouTubers.
Ngannou ain't normal, is he? He's a freak of nature. Was he 6'4", 18, 19 stone powerhouse, which proved that he stuck Tyson on his arse, whether it was a clean shot or.
Well, even he said he didn't catch him clean. I think Tyson looked up and what for.
Listen, it's clean enough to put him on his arse.
Yeah, oh yeah, but if he.
You look at it,
No, I'm not looking at it. I'm just telling you what Francis Ngannou said himself. I mean, he's released a press conference, not press conference, released a bit of social media saying, I actually hardly even caught you. We need a rematch. We need a rematch. Now, listen, Tyson Fury's got bigger fish to fry than worrying about Francis Ngannou, because the next person, I think, in the heavyweight division who faces Ngannou is going to wipe him out. He's going to do a job on him because...
Let's talk about Tyson's next fight against Alexander Usyk, who ain't no mug. You know, he's had hundreds and hundreds of fights, amateur, professional, and I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park, because if you've noticed, a lot of boxers, ex and ones that are still fighting, they've actually changed their predictions now. They all went, yeah, Fury. Now they're saying, I don't know, I think Usyk's got the upper hand.
Yeah, but they're only saying that after what happened with Ngannou, and it doesn't help that John Fury's going on everything, giving it, my son ain't gonna be ready. Listen,
he's in decline and all that. Yeah, he's lost his punch resistance. He's this, he's that. But I don't know whether that's all true or it's this mind games. You know what I mean? His old man sticking it out there to sort of do Usyk's head in, going, oh wait a minute, he become overconfident.
well, listen, we've got our first comment come in, guys, as well, right? So I tell you what, if you want to join in the conversation, drop us a message. We certainly will be reading all out. So Ant Barnett on Facebook says, Fury got found out by an MMA fighter. Usyk has to beat him. He just has to. Yeah, but what if he don't? See, this is it. Fury is going to train differently for Usyk than he did for Ngannou, because he knows who Usyk is, right? And if I'm Tyson Fury, I would be looking at the Anthony Joshua fight, the Derek Chisora fight, and the Daniel Dubois fight. Right? There's still arguments that Dubois won that. Well,
It's controversial, that shot. No matter what happens. Right? It's a 50-50. I always said it was 50-50, whether it was above the belt, below the belt. You know, it's been and gone now. There's nothing you can do about it.
But Del Boy said it right, didn't he? Derek Chisora, you were with him on the plane coming back from Poland. You were after watching that. Derek Chisora had it right. What he said is, I've written the blueprint for everybody else to fight, and no one is listening. I mean, he did. I mean, at the end of the day, he's just a pumped up cruiserweight. That is all he is, right? He doesn't. Yeah, but what they're not doing is they're not fighting right. I mean, Joshua should have learned. Joshua caught him sweet to the stomach. He hated it. He was complaining to the referee. I just don't get it.
Yeah, but what happened? I said to you at that night on that fight, I went, why the hell was Joshua stop punching him in the stomach? Why didn't he carry it on?
And I mean, I asked Spence Oliver, so I sent him a message the other day, said, Spence, come on the show, we'll talk about it. Because he sat there and told Joshua that he won that fight. And he didn't win that fight. He really, really didn't win that fight. And I know he's got, and I have to say, right, Spencer Oliver stands alongside one of the most controversial men in boxing, and a guy I absolutely love. And his name is Simon Jordan, right? Absolutely love. And if there's a guy I want to be like in this, in this chat world, it's Simon Jordan, because I think the geezer has got a set of bollocks like that, right? And he tells it exactly how he sees it. And he tells it exactly how he sees it. No, he ain't. He don't care. He goes, I don't need any Earn or Frank Warren on my show. We bring you 3 million people every month. If you could just say thanks if you like. But he's got it right. I love the way Simon Jordan is with it. He says it exactly as it is. I mean, we don't pretend here, guys and girls at Fighters Talk TV. We are, slightly towards the bottom of the pile. Although, saying that, over the last 90 days, we've had over 40 million users, which is really, really nice. We've done really, really well. And it's always good. And we really appreciate the audience. But at the end of the day, it's... yeah, I mean, he has it right, doesn't he? He really has it right. But the blueprint, Derek Chisora, going back to that, the blueprint Derek Chisora has written to fight Alexander Usyk is you attack his body. He doesn't like it. And someone who hits as hard as Fury, with Sugar Hill in his corner, should not stop with the body. And the fact that he's like... I always likened Fury. I mean, how many times we've had this debate? I've always likened Fury as an old Street Fighter character called Dao Sim. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if you remember him. He had those long, stretchy arms. I mean, he could stand in his corner and punch Usyk about. Who's in the own corner? No, what I think that what they need to do, the fighters, is they got to just work on Usyk's. But it's clear he don't like it. Usyk is the best mover in the division, right? The only one who can counter him is Tyson Fury. I mean, but the difference is about 6 inches, right? And about 500 inches on his arm length. Oh, listen, do not think that just because Tyson Fury's got a belly on him, the man ain't got a tank. I mean, he has proved every single time that the man's got a tank. Do you know what I mean? I remember him standing up there at the Klitschko fight going, look at me, I'm fat and I'll still beat you. You got beat by a fat man. I'd feel embarrassed if I was you.
That was many years ago.
Yeah, but it don't matter. The last thing to go on a fighter is his punch. And believe you me, you know, Tyson Fury, the closest he's come to being knocked out is when he punched himself in the head. So, I mean, I'm not just a Fury fan, but I just like the way the guy is, and it's going to be interesting to see. Hopefully things sort out so we can go out to Saudi Arabia from Frank Warren and Matt Rich and all the team over there at Queensbury. Really appreciate the offers. We've had an offer to go over to Saudi this time, but obviously we can't because of family reasons. But you know, we really want to say a big thank you to those guys. They put a lot of effort into Fighters Talk TV, and we wouldn't be where we are without them. So that's both Matchroom and Queensbury. It's quite nice because they work with us together quite nicely, as they do with, you know, I'm not afraid to mention, as they do with IFL, as they do with Boxing Social, as they do, you know, Pro Boxing Fans and Seconds Out and all that. So, you know, it's quite a nice tight knit community when we turn up, because we've been sick for an entire month. It's just totally. Yeah, it is, and then we're going to turn up with the next one and go, "Who are you?" Anyway, so let's move on. We've covered Devin Haney. I want to talk about Ebony Bridges right now. Listen, I'm going to put this on right. Ebony Bridges is in the wrong sport. She should be in OnlyFans, right? Now I'm not doubting her ability in the ring, but she got proper shown up last night.
Yeah, by someone who literally had a week's notice.
she just got. Well, they did like a proper demolition, didn't she, on that? Don't forget, guys, if you have an opinion up in here, we will read them out. We always want to hear what you guys have got to say. If you don't agree with us, tell us, and I'll tell you why you're wrong. Right, so she did. She got done over, didn't she? She really got done over. And I said that we've got a friend who, Ebony Bridges, and they have a bit of a spat. So Nina Hughes, friend of the show, the WBO World Bantamweight Champion, has been dying to get in the ring with Ebony Bridges. Eddie Hearn said, no, it's not the fight, not the fight.
She wants too much money.
Well, Ebony did.
She's that pricing herself because she knows she's going to get bashed up.
Yeah, innit? She knows she's going to get weighed in. So, and the...
Now there's a new champion, so hopefully Nina gets the shot.
Well, that's all we can hope, right? So I spoke with Nina. I mean, I could show you my mobile phone, and I am going to show you my mobile phone. I'm just going to check that it doesn't show Nina's number. So, and I spoke with her the other day. Actually, it was this morning. To be fair, let me just tell you our conversation. So I've got Nina the champ right in here, and I said to her, and don't get me wrong, I went, ha ha ha. Nina the champ, just in case everyone's wondering. There you go, Nina the champion. Yeah. So I said to her,
I spoke to her this morning.
Did you? We get done for stalking. I said to her, hopefully now you can get the shot. She said, haha, I know. Hopefully Eddie actually makes this fight. I said, well, you know, keep strong. Your time will come. And Max and I will be putting it on Eddie when we next see him. And I really am. So Eddie Hearn, if you are watching, what's the reason now, other than you're going to tell me exactly what you told me when I asked you about Cameron and Taylor? Oh, there's a rematch clause in the contract. Do you know what? It sucks. Sometimes the rematch clauses suck. And let me tell you, there isn't. And Nina corrected me about this morning. Do you know they can't do a rematch clause in a mandatory? They can do it if it's not a mandatory fight, which is how they got round the Katie Taylor Cameron thing. Don't get me wrong, that was a great fight, guys and girls. Let me know what you think about it. The Taylor Cameron fight was exceptional. But I do feel that it was wrong. It was wrong. So I said to Eddie, you were there. I said to him, didn't I? Why isn't Katie's belts on the line this time? Everything went Katie's way. Twice she fought in Ireland. Yeah, twice, didn't she? Now she wants the third fight. But Chantel's up for it. Third fight, Crow Park, Ireland again. 3 times.
It shouldn't be held in Ireland. No way. It's got to be held over here.
Yeah, but that's my opinion. I agree with you. 3 times and 2 times. Third time, if they do it, it's going to be in Ireland again. And 2 times, 2 for both Chantel's belts. And I said to Eddie, why don't you let it go the other way? And the question comes in is, listen, we know that Katie Taylor is amazing. She is a fantastic ambassador for the sport. Love her to pieces. Respect her hugely. And I do mean hugely. But there does come a time when boxing moves on. Champions fall. Okay? Not only do champions fall, but they also retire. And she thinks that she's still got it in the tank, which is all fair play to her. But let me tell you something. If Chantel Cameron didn't get her head cut open in the first, and perhaps if that second match, if Chantel had stamped her feet enough and gone Wembley, 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 it might have been a different story.
Yeah, might have been. But let's wait until 2024. Fingers crossed that happens again. It's got to be. It's one apiece. It's got to happen.
And that's until Amanda Serrano comes weighing in and goes, listen, I'm going to weigh the pair of you in, so it don't matter, and I'll have all 12 belts or 500 or whatever it is. You know, I'm taking them all. I'm taking them all.
Talking about belts. Talk about Jay Opataya.
Ah, yeah, the IBF are going to strip him for fighting on December 23rd. Do you think that's fair, guys? I mean, tell me what you think. I mean, the guy's defending his belt. The other guy who he's trying to fight, which names escapes me now, who his vote is mandatory, isn't ready to fight. Yeah, they've offered him a fight for next year.
My problem is, they knew about him going to be fighting months ago. Why wasn't it put on him then? If you take this fight, you're going to lose the belt. Why wait till 2 weeks, or just under 2 weeks? If you fight, we've got to take a belt off you. Why wasn't this put on the table then?
Do you know what? It's so strange the way boxing politics go, right? Do you know? But the trouble is, you got 4 world champions, or 5, depends on which belts you recognise these days. You got 4 world champions, Lonsdale champions, European champions. I mean, everybody's got a belt. I mean, there's so many belts.
Well, they're thinking about doing is it a bridgerweight?
This is the weight between cruiserweight and heavy, isn't it? 200 to 224 pounds, I think they're trying to put it in at. That'd be great for someone like Deontay Wilder, right? Who's got a chance of becoming a world heavyweight champion again. Probably Jordan Thompson as well, because of what's happened with the last fight against Jay Opataya. You've got the opportunity of Daniel Dubois, because he's not that big a framed, may actually be able to come down as well and actually win a world title. So
even our new boy,
Moses Ituma. Yeah, but I'll tell you what, there's a good fight on the hill for him. Yeah, oh, he's great. He is great. He had another good early stoppage the other day. He said, I'm not even getting a sweat.
I don't want to call him a boy, but he's not quite a man yet. But tell you what, he's got punching power. You know what I mean? Both hands are both lethal.
Yeah, you should have thought about that when you snored in his ear hole on the way back on the plane.
He's big. I'm looking across and I'm thinking, Jesus, I'm doing all that next to me.
Is it a bit of a man mountain?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I believe if he carries on how he does, he will be a champion before he hits 20.
But there's a good cut. You know, Queensbury and, of course, Matchroom have got a good 2 young fighters there that are going to end up eye to eye. Johnny Fisher, Moses Ituma, right? There's no 2 ways about it. So, Johnny Fisher just won the English title. It's going to be interesting to see how they try and push.
Well, I'm not being funny, but I think Moses has got the edge. I think he's a bit more of a controlled boxer. Because when we see Johnny fight last time, it was like a raging bull.
Yeah, but
I think he went too mad too quick and sort of blew himself out.
Yeah, but they were saying at that match, I mean, Tony Bellew. By the way, Tony, go on, win the jungle, son. Win the jungle. Yeah. We should send him a text. Yeah. But he would know anyway. Oh, did she tell him? Yeah. Oh, right. Oh, he's happy. Anyway, so I just, when you look at it for what it is, what can you say?
them two met, Ball and Moses.
I tell you what, some really tasty, fighters coming through. I mean, they said about the Romford Ball needs to learn from someone like Filip Hrgović, and they were going to send him into the gym with someone like Filip Hrgović.
Yeah.
I think if the two of them met now, I think I'd probably give Atuma the edge at the moment. And the only reason I say that is, but then he's not been chin checked, so.
No, but it's hard to be chin checked when you're banging everyone out inside a couple of rounds.
Yeah, but he's gonna take that step up, isn't he? He's gonna move up from taxi drivers to cab drivers to lorry drivers, and then he'll start fighting serious contenders.
Up his opponents.
Well, it's not Eddie's fighter; it's Frank Warren's. Sorry, Frank, we're not just stealing your fighters and giving them to Eddie. Oh dear.
But yeah, they've got to step it up fairly soon for him, and if he does prove himself, then I think he should be, towards the end of next year, fighting for a belt.
Yeah, I mean, they should run him slowly through, I think. I think you've got to go through Commonwealth, British, European, etc., etc. I mean, everyone dreams of winning titles, but there's so many of them. I mean, we've talked about it, time and time again. I think, and going back to what you were saying, I think the Bridgerweight is a good thing because some of these guys are getting big. Tyson Fury, monster. Anthony Joshua, monster. Deontay Wilder, not so much. Because Deontay Wilder, while he is tall, he doesn't have a huge frame. If you look at his legs, they are quite spindly.
He's skinny, but he's big, but he's not thick, if you know what I mean.
He's not thick set. Yeah, but I found Dubois like that when I met him. It's different, guys, because when you see us, they're quite tall. Yeah.
I thought he's going to be like a monster. When we were standing next to us, thinking, oh my God, he's actually quite small.
Well, I mean, you've got to realise, guys. I mean, we're about 6'1", right, between the two of us. So we're not small ourselves, and we are thick set. So when we see these guys, they're athletes. So when we walk up to when we're looking at Alexander Usyk, that is something completely different. It's like, and you're what, heavyweight? And you do question it. You do sit there and think. It's like when we.
When I first met Tony Bellew, I was like, I always see him on telly. I thought he was quite big, isn't he? But he was next to me. I was like, oh, he ain't that big.
Yeah, he must be slouching. He must be slouching. Well, actually, I mean, the last time we see him before he went in jungle, he was laughing at us because we couldn't get parked in the same fucking car park in Liverpool, wasn't it? Was it Liverpool? He was going, we ain't going in here, lads. I went, no, neither were we. So we ended up going back to the hotel, getting in a cab and going back, which we should have done in the first place, really. It would have saved all that nonsense. Anyway, what's next on the agenda? I'll tell you what, Conor Benn. Let's talk about Conor.
Yeah, let's get Conor Benn out of the way. Right, I want to kick this off.
Go on.
Right, I believe he is being treated harshly compared to any other boxer in his situation. Right, and why is it? Is it because he's the son of Nigel, or is it they just don't like him?
No, do you know what? I don't think it's because of anything, right? What I think is because he's fighting back. He's standing up, right? And now the powers that be over there at the British Boxing Board of Control are actually going, do you know what? We're here to police the sport, and you will do what we say. Otherwise, you won't fight.
Or is it because Eddie announced his fight?
Yeah, but I mean, you've got.
You're not fighting.
That's all right. We just lose views. No, I think as well. You've got to understand the very nature of the fight, right? So, this is a catchweight fight. Neither fighter's going to be at optimum performance. After the last fight, the British Boxing Board of Control are not just about saying, it's not fair, it's this, that, and whatever. What they are saying is this is potentially dangerous. So Chris Eubank Sr. has come in and said, I'm not going to allow my son to fight. Chris Eubank Jr. has gone, on your bike, I'm the boss, not you. So Chris Eubank Sr. has gone and got Harlem Eubank, do apologise. And he's now gone and said, here, dreadlocks, we is coming for you. In that stupid Jamaican accent he was putting on. Do you remember that? And I do apologise if anyone's taken offence. Yeah, I'm not trying to be anything wrong or anything. And then he just comes on and says that because he knows that Conor Benn is the tickets to Big Dosh.
Yeah, listen, Conor's not interested in his cousin.
No, he ain't.
He wants Eubank. That's it.
Well, do you know what? I think it's a ferocious fight, and I actually would love to see it, but as long as it's safe. I mean, people go, oh no, we don't know, he shouldn't fight. Listen, you ain't going to stop these two guys fighting. You can put it on down the Circus Tavern, $5 a ticket, and you still fill the venue. Right, in Perfectly, under an unlicensed boxing match, mate. You'd have everybody there. Yeah, all the British media would be there. Don't need the BBOC. Just don't need them. And they could do that. They could do that. Or they could take it out to Saudi where all the money is and all the rest of it. But it's going to happen.
He's a hot property. I mean, everyone wants a piece of him. You've got Kell Brook said he'll come out of retirement for him.
Yeah, that's because he pushed him over with our good friend Bill down at TW1. Sat there, got in between them two. Let me tell you guys, I mean, we've been talking about that at length, and Bill Whitrod, friend of ours. And by the way, guys, if you are in Billericay in Essex this weekend coming up, you might want to get down to his show. Fantastic little show Bill Whitrod's putting on. Nigel will be there. Nigel Benn will be there as well. So, but what I would say is that, we were talking to Bill and we go, we did a meme for him, didn't I? I sent it over to him when he got in between him and Kell Brook. And I sat there and thought, if Kell Brook had grabbed me like that, or grabbed you like that, he would have been proper weighed in, do you know what I mean? Really just don't give a shit. Who's that you're punching up, Kell Brook? Right, and I was like, oh, mate, grab hold of me like that, you'd be sorry. And I only wear cheap clothes. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, didn't it? He would have got weighed in. I hate being grabbed, I really do. But no, it would be an interesting fight. Don't get me wrong, it will be an interesting fight. But I think with Conor Benn, and I think Simon Jordan was on TalkSport the other week saying that the British Boxing Board of Control finally grown a set of teeth to actually control the sport, and they could potentially take away Eddie Hearn's licence to promote fights. Well, they ain't going to do that, really, because he's already promoted the fight over in California, right, with Conor Benn versus the drug cheat, which is quite interesting because he got caught doping, didn't he? The Mexican drug cheat, yeah. But it was. Well, I mean, we said he was being hit with everything other than a ring rope, and I don't know how he was. Yeah, he was sitting there so flying high. Which I think we should move on now. Talking about flying high, I want to go over to the Gerald Miller Daniel Dubois fight. Now, I'm going to say it again, and I don't care who's going to tell me off or who's going to say anything, right? Frank, I know that Daniel's your boy. I really do, and I respect Daniel. I do like Daniel and everything else, but Daniel, you shouldn't take the fight. Let me tell you why. Do I think that he can beat Miller? Yeah, I do. I believe he can beat Miller. But I would never, ever, ever entertain a drugs cheat like that. And that's how I feel about it. There is a massive difference between Conor Benn with a trace element of something that is chlorophene, which is it's a pregnancy drug for his wife that he could have been kissing her and whatnot, and all of a sudden appears in the sample, to someone injecting steroids. That's an intramuscular injection, guys, into the butt. Someone stabbing up his own arsehole. I mean, it's the only sport in the world. All right, MMA you could argue as well. It's the only sport it's the only sport in the world where you can legally kill people and get away with it. And that's how it is. That's how I see it. And I just think, if it was me, I shouldn't have taken that fight. I think it's just because I've got a bit of moral principles, I suppose. But if the Saudis come up to me and said, we'll give you $5 million, I'd go, what principles? All I've got principles is feeding my kids for the rest of their life, yeah. So, His Excellency, if you want to offer me £5 million, I'll fight anybody you put in front of me, whether I get my head weaved into the canvas or not. Well, that's it. I may have macular, whatever it is, in my eyes, so I can't see with the right eye, and I have to try and punch him up with the left eye, which, by the way, is not good either. But I'll still give it a go for £5 million. But but this Gerald Miller fight.
I believe, no disrespect to Dubois, but I think Miller might actually beat him.
Well, all he's got is size. All this guy's got is size. I mean, all right, Daniel Dubois is I think he's a bit taller. Yeah, but I'll just say to Dubois, just stay out the guy's way. Just, jab his face off all night. Because he's going to run. Sooner or later, he's going to run out of fuel. I mean, he's a big unit.
His head off for the first 4, 5, 6 rounds, and then steam straight into him. Not grab up again.
Yeah, he's gonna hardly breathe, let alone walk. Do you know what I mean? So, I think that's how I would deal with it. But I just don't like drugs cheats. I don't like people who like. Is it Mayorga who had the gloves with plaster of Paris in? I think that is unforgivable. I think him and his trainer went to prison for that fight. No, it was a Collins fight, wasn't it? That guy.
Collins, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think
He ended up killing himself after that, didn't he?
well, that's it. Well, yeah, there was lots of different reasons, wasn't there? But I mean, you couldn't attribute it to that. No, it didn't help. It didn't help.
At a young age, it was bad, that was.
And he was battered. But I'll tell you what, iron chin. The only other iron chin like that. Yeah, I mean, that was the one where they took the padding out the glove, and he was just using bare hands, wasn't it, smashing it to pieces.
Oh right, yeah, but Freddie Collins, he plastered Paris in the wraps, wasn't it?
Oh, of course it was, yeah, because it had and Mayorga had a crack on his wrap, and then he had to face the guy again, and then he got battered. Cheats like that should never be allowed. I mean, what do you think, guys? What's your opinion? Yeah, this is part of your show too. Join in.
Said, if the caught drug cheating, it should be banned for life.
Yeah. Shouldn't
debate if you get banned? What do you reckon, guys? Is it a life ban, 10-year, 5-year, a year? What do you reckon? What do you reckon is suitable for being caught?
Do you know the way I see it, right? I see it as totally unforgivable. I mean, not even in a little way. Totally unforgivable.
It's unprofessional, it's unforgivable, and you're skilled men anyway. Your hands are classed as deadly weapons as it is. Why add to it?
Do you know what? To me, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
Let's talk about dangerous fights. Let's talk about Joshua's opponent.
Wallin.
Wallin.
Okay, so Luke Walker has just popped up on our Facebook channel and said, "Who do you think is going to win, Usyk or Fury?"
Well,
don't ask Mac. Don't ask Max. He's a Fury hater.
No, I'm not a Fury hater. I like Fury. I think it's funny. But if he comes out the fight like he did against Ngannou, then I think Usyk is going to be the victor. But hopefully, he actually trains for this one. You know what I mean? And he comes out and does a Fury thing.
Well,
all depends on Fury. What Fury you get that night.
Did you notice, guys, that was about as clear as mud from Max? Yeah. So no, I'm telling you, Fury's going to win that fight. He's not going to train the same way. He's going to do something completely different, and he's actually going to win that fight.
Well, let's hope so. Bring the belt back home to Britain.
Well, we can only but try. We can only but try. Anyway, okay. So, what other news you going to talk about there, Max?
Right, Joshua's opponent, Wallin.
Oh, you reckon he's bitten off more than he can chew?
Well, I believe so. He's not no pushover, is he? Look what he done to Tyson.
Well,
caused him 40-odd stitches in the face.
Well, yeah. I mean, you only have to get caught with a good shot, didn't you?
Yeah.
You do only have to get caught with a good shot.
You know, I believe this is going to be a real test for Joshua. I do. I don't think he's not had a real test since Reeve, so this is going to be it. And if he does win, we're going to get the fight we want. Joshua Wilder.
So let's talk about this Joshua situation, because there's news been released today that he is actually, after he reckons he's going to smash Wallin to pieces. That's what he said. Wasn't it? He's going to smash him to actual pieces, and then that's what he said. But then there's been reports coming out in the news today that says Joshua is ready to snub for a world title fight in order to face Deontay Wilder next. And let's not forget, Deontay Wilder's got a fight and he's not coming through no mug, right? Because Joseph Parker is the real deal, right? He ain't no mug, guys.
You know.
So.
Also, right? And Ngannou's put it out there that he wants to fight him in the ring or the cage, whatever one he suits.
Right, Joshua's never going to fight in a cage. Listen, if I was opposite the cage next to Francis Ngannou, I'd be sort of in a fetal position crying for my mum, and that's before the first bell rings. Yeah, absolutely. There'd be no way I would get in a cage with him. Yeah. Listen, how much do you want? Listen, Mr. Ngannou, how much do you want for me not to bruise your knuckles with my head? I mean, it's just, he ain't going to take that fight in the cage. But in the ring, I don't see Ngannou winning that. I can't. I'm sorry.
Listen, I think Ngannou probably knows that deep down, but all comes down to the Benjamins.
Yeah, innit? You know.
This is what it's all about. This is what it's all about.
Which is why.
Best of the best. It's about how much money you're going to earn.
Well, that's it. But that is exactly why. The only reason why that Anthony Joshua would not fight for a world title and fight Deontay Wilder. That is the only reason. Because listen, if it was for honour and it was for legacy and it was for all this other tosh, I'd say the same to Tyson Fury, who changes his mind every 5 minutes. Right? I'll fight him for free. I want half a billy. There's a big difference between nothing and $500 million, right?
Yeah, I'll
And I'll have them both. Yeah. And there is a big difference, right? If you want legacy, you do what Usyk does. So Fury says to Usyk, 30-70, and every day you delay, I'll delay. I'll take a % off, right? Every day. Because that's how he works, right? Fury's all gob when it comes to things like that. Whether it's you can call it an astute businessman. Yeah, he did. And he said, I'll accept it, but you give $1 billion to Ukraine. That's what he said. 1 million, sorry, yeah. 1 billion, he couldn't afford it. But 1 million he could, yeah. So, he's trying it. That's the heart of a champion who wants legacy. He wants to be the only undisputed cruiserweight world champion, undisputed heavyweight world champion, and then he walks on his merry way as possibly, if not the best, pound for pound fighter to have ever lived. And I believe him. I absolutely believe him at 2 weights, and I think he will prove if he beats Tyson Fury, he will be, in my opinion, better than Muhammad Ali. He will be the best fighter to ever lace up boxing gloves. And I don't mean that light. If you want to ask me who I think, I think that it's not Muhammad Ali that you need to beat as the greatest. I think it's Manny Pacquiao. And let me tell you why. An 8-weight world champion from nothing, is a very poor background. But for me, Manny Pacquiao is pound for pound. For me. Okay? Canelo, not so much, because he lost against Mayweather, he lost against Bivol. But Pacquiao is for me probably the best pound for pound. But if Usyk beats Fury, he, for me, would be the best man to have ever laced boxing gloves. Because it's such, it's different fighting at flyweight and lightweight and all the rest of it than it is fighting at cruiserweight and heavyweight. But do you know what I think may happen if I was Usyk? Right, if I was Usyk, I'd take the fight and a rematch with Fury. Hopefully win them both. No, I don't want him to win, by the way. Tyson, I've got your corner. Hopefully win both fights against Fury and then say, you know what? I'm going to fight everybody in this Bridgerweight division, and I'm going to win it. I'm going to be a 3-weight, undisputed world champion. Undisputed. I mean, it's just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And, I still hope Fury batters him, but that is the way it is. But let me...
Luke Walker.
Huh.
Another question. So let's say if Usyk wins, what would then happen to Tyson within the gypsy community?
Listen, when you're 6'9" and can punch half of them up, nothing is going to happen. Right? Yeah, exactly. Let me tell you something about it. Right? This man has had a legacy that is, unmatched in that community. That none of them, no one in the gypsy community is going to say anything bad to Tyson Fury. Just like they didn't when Canelo beat Billy Joe Saunders. Right? You've got to realise that these are huge, great athletes. Not one other man born from his mother in the gypsy community, I would say, as that's using Tyson Fury's words, will be able to beat Canelo in their prime, right? And do you know what I'll say about Billy Joe Saunders? He got hit in the eye, broke his eye socket, and he didn't stop. He kept going after him. He didn't. His corner pulled him out. And it was the best decision. I've got a lot of respect for Billy Joe. I really like Billy Joe as a fighter. I'd love to see him back in the ring with a Chris Eubank just to teach him another lesson. But I don't know if that's going to happen because they're talking about a Callum Smith fight. But there's nothing going to happen in the Gypsy community to the Gypsy King. Let me assure you about that, Luke. Nothing at all. The man has got a legacy. The man has done wonders for the sport. The man has actually shown that you can come from nothing and go to everything, you know. And
he's also shown that you can be rock bottom
and come back,
sniffing gear, put weight on, mental illnesses, and come back and win titles.
I mean, not he did that in his second fight back. I mean, third fight back. Sorry.
Listen, that is inspirational. If you're looking for it, that Tyson then was it. You've got inspiration. Tyson Fury's in it.
Yeah, with his Corey hanging out in a double fold, stirring your coffee. Size of the man. But I mean, I think as well, you know, you got to sort of understand that when you've got a guy like Tyson Fury, they grow up in a certain way, grow up in a certain thing. And I mean, I love the man from a family perspective. Watching that at home with the Furies was such a great thing. It really, really was. The bit about when he's telling them the story, you know, left hook. Look, I'll sort it right out. It's absolutely fantastic. But you know, and this was my argument. You know, I said to people, what if he beats Usyk, you know, and then goes on to beat Joshua? Could he be considered as potentially the greatest as well? And I do believe that. I mean, he could be that if he wants legacy. He's already done what he set out to do, and I believe him. He's secured his children's future, his children's children's future, and his children's children's future. And do you know what I say to a man like that? Well done. Yeah. Bravo. You deserve everything you get. You deserve every penny you make. I just don't charge me when we want to do an interview. Because we is broke-ass mudders. Yeah, we will. We will. I think we should go there just after Christmas. I'm going to pop a little Christmas card to Tyson and the family. In fact, when you come down here next weekend, we might take a drive to Morecambe, pop it in his house. Yeah, that's it. And I'll put it in his letterbox. Thank you very much, Tyson, for everything you've done for our sport, because we love it. And if it weren't for him, we wouldn't have done so well either, because we got lots of views out of obviously this Ngannou stuff. I was for him. I always backed you all the way. Feel free to punch him in the head.
Yeah, well, I've got to be like this. Can't be too arse-licky.
What do you mean arse-licky? It ain't arse-licky. Yeah, I know who he was talking about. When we was in London at the press conference for Ngannou versus Tyson, and I was looking over at Max. He was getting a bit. I saw Max's arsehole was pouting a bit like that because we were going to go and talk to Tyson. He was, oh no, he's so busy. Just in case Coogan actually shared that video with him, you called him out. Never got back to you though. No. I know he's afraid, mate. Some South Essex fug. Oh dear, how funny. But I'll tell you what, this is a great end to the year, isn't it, of boxing. And you know, with the Usyk Fury Fury Usyk, sorry guys, Fury Usyk fight in 17th of February, the 23rd of December, is so exciting. You've got one of the funniest men in boxing fighting next week, which is Sonny Edwards versus Bam Rodriguez, right? I mean, we've been with Sonny a lot, and especially when he goes telling Coogan about his shoddy shit, when he, and as he comes in about trying to get a Rolex, but he getting a kiddies one when he was like, because just. But I tell you what, I like Sonny. He's a nice guy. I mean, I know you had a run-in with him, but he is a nice guy. And I actually find him really hilarious. And I tell you what, Sonny, after your boxing career, you've got a great career as a commentator. You really have, because you're so interesting to listen to, and you can have a great crack with him as well. Really funny guy. Really, really funny. So all the best with that as well, Sonny Edwards. That's next weekend. I mean, it's what it's just stacked. The weekend after that, here we go. Let It Go in Saudi Arabia. Unbelievable. And don't forget, you've got the Anui fight, which is on Boxing Day. Which, by the way, I ain't watching. Because I ain't going to be able to see it, and neither are you. You'll be like that.
Yeah, I'll be drinking.
Anyway, guys, I want to thank you very much for joining us tonight on our first successful live broadcast across two. It has. I can see it. It's still live. It's on Fighters Talk TV, FTTV Boxing. It's on Fighters Talk TV on Twitter. I can see it now, and I can also see it's still live on Instagram, and we're still going on Facebook. Wow, that it's only taken a little bit of time to be set up, so we've successfully done it. Many thanks to Cornbread just above for sponsoring our show. If you do want to know about our sponsorship packages, do let us know, of course. And of course, if you are a professional fighter or if you're an amateur fighter with an amateur gym, do not hesitate to get in touch. We do cover some gyms. We come down there for a little bit of training, and you can punch Max. Anyway, guys, once again, thank you very much for joining us here, and we wish you all the very best. And don't forget, we will be back on Tuesday and Thursday nights, 9 p.m. UK time, and I think working it out, going back 8 hours, that's 1 p.m. Las Vegas time, which is Pacific Standard Time, and go across to New York, which is Eastern Standard Time, and I believe that is 3 p.m. So if you do want to join us in, let us know. We'd love to have you on the show. Take care, guys. God bless, and we'll see you all soon. Bosh!
Yeah. Yeah, I was on Facebook. Just going YouTube. Yeah. Yeah, you need like an intro um, video just before we start with, like loads of knockouts are happening, and then